Whether it's heading to a blue water beach to have some mate with pastries, having lunch in a town, and getting back home for some ice cream before you get roasted alive, or spending a weekend renting a quiet place with a pool, eating tasty food, exploring a new town, and keep eating tasty food. The thing is, how to survive summer while living on the Costa del Sol. In summer, not just the heat. Everything gets really intense. And to keep enjoying the place we choose to live in, we have to get more creative, adapt, and find alternative ways to enjoy. Luckily, the scorching heat is now behind us, and the best weather is just starting, when any regular Saturday might be drinking mate on the beach or going for a walk in the mountains. Everything goes back to its usual rhythm and balance. Yes, living on the Costa del Sol is definitely a privilege that you can enjoy year-round. Being surrounded by sea and mountains was part of the plan when we chose to live in here. Unfortunately, daily routines can run you over and you get used to it too quickly. What at first felt new and exciting eventually becomes part of the everyday routine. That's why, many times, we have to remind ourselves that we come from the concrete jungle, and being able to live and work here deserves constant enjoyment and gratitude. A 1-hour getaway on a Saturday morning just to take some photos at the beach can be the best way to start the weekend. But summer moves at a different rhythm. Whether you are at sea level or up in the mountains, living on the Costa del Sol in summer can be truly overwhelming and stressful, like in any tourist hotspot. For example, when we lived for a year in Benalmádena, we had the beach 50 meters away, and we enjoyed it very much most of the year. But we also had 3 bars and a hotel right next to the apartment, and summer was really hard to deal with. That intensity can throw everything off balance. Now we live a bit farther out, closer to the mountains than the sea, in a less urban area. Still, the intense shift of the summer rhythm is very noticeable. The truth is that, despite our optimism when we started planning to move to Spain with the goal of traveling more throughout the year and choose Malaga province, we never imagined we will end up living somewhere this beautiful. One of the things we love most about our change of life is the number and variety of places we can go to in such short distances or travel times. Waking up on a Sunday, jumping on the highway, and reaching a town like Ojen in under 30 minutes to go for a hike in the mountains still blows our minds. were born and raised in Buenos Aires, a city with lots of green and parks, yes, but a concrete jungle all the same. And while we do miss the vibe of neighborhood life, stepping out your front door and finding the daily pulse of people and movement, being close to mountain paths that take you to places like this, where you can connect with nature and get away from the noise, is the life choice we made for this stage of life. But of course, having C3PO to take us around makes everything easier. In August last year, we traveled to northern Spain on a trip we remember very fondly. Not just for the magical places we visited, but because we got to see the village where my grandmother was born. But this summer, for the first time, we didn't travel anywhere and we stayed here. And between my heat intolerance because of my immunodeficiency and the fact that we both prefer to avoid crowds and the typical tourist conception, well, maybe La Costa del Sol is not the best place to be in the summer. Between July and August, the population on the Costa del Sol triples. And the temperature, well, it's suffocating, just like everywhere else, really. Or maybe it's just a matter of being more creative and adapting. By adjusting our schedules and avoiding peak hours, you can still enjoy great plans close to home without spending much. Like going out on a Saturday for breakfast at a clear water beach with no people because we made the effort to wake up earlier. Or escaping the tourist epicenter and hitting inland the province for a weekend of rest, cool enough in a pool. Nerja and Frigiliana, breakfast on a turquoise beach and lunch in a white village. Early bird gets the worm. Possibly one of the greatest truths in human history. Once you push through and get up, everything is better when the rest of the world is still asleep. The light is softer and more diverse, with its unpredictable changes. You hear more natural sounds than urban ones, and just as important, traffic drops considerably. Last summer, fatal accidents on Andalusia's highways increased by over 50%. And on the Costa del Sol, traffic rises by more than 20% on the first weekend of August. So we hit it out around 7:30 a.m. and took the A7, hoping to get to Nerja in about an hour. Also, in the early morning, there is less crowd density, which means more space and more freedom. Look how the beaches in Nerja look like when we arrived, and check out later how they will look like when we leave. To enjoy the beach, staying true to our Argentine habits, we brought a dozen pastries with our mates. Around 11 AM, we started packing up and we realized we were being seriously stalked. Like scavenger birds, there were people waiting to take our well-located little spot that was already listed on the stock market. This is how the beach looked when we left, and this is how it looked when we arrived. We got in the car and headed to Frigiliana to find somewhere to eat. The beautiful white village that sits up on the mountain just above Nerja. As I have to avoid extreme heat for health reasons, while Jamie recorded a virtual walking tour which you can enjoy at this link. I went off to find some shade in the narrow streets of the village and took the chance to grab some shots and a few photos. Before heading home, just before the midday sun melted us, we enjoyed a fresh, abundant and really delicious tuna and roasted paper salad. On the way back, we picked up some ice cream, rested, and finished the day with a barbecue in the garden with a neighbor. Using this barbecue I found abandoned on the street. It was in perfect condition. All we had to do was replace the part where the meat goes. Grill and scallop, with guests, we are officially reopening barbecue season. Back to the Argentine asado ritual. How many years since last time? The video ended up being longer than I thought, so part 2, Cambas del Selpillar and Lucena, will have to wait until the next one. Which is actually better, because I filmed a lot more and there is more to tell. If you enjoy what I do, a like and a comment helps me a lot to keep doing it. And follow me on social media to see more photos and footage about my travels. Also, I just updated my website where you can see my travel photography portfolio so far. Thanks for watching until the very end, and see you in the next one.